John Frantz, author of the For the Love of Boomers book. And today, our podcast is featuring a very special guest, Jerry Holl. Morning, Jerry. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, John. Good morning to you, and good morning to your audience as well.
Great, great. So
And
Jerry and I've been,
congratulations, by the way, congratulations on publishing a book. That's a big deal.
oh, well, thanks.
Congratulations to you.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, Jerry and I have been friends since our IBM days. He's always been a very athletic guy, and he still is. We skied Tahoe together and lived to tell about it. He lives on Lake Minnetonka in Minneapolis. He ice skates on the lake in the winter, and he refers to the lake as his playground. After IBM, he went on to be the national sales manager for R.R. Donnelley Data Management Services. Then he went on to Piper Jaffray as the institutional equity sales manager before winding down. He is a husband, a father, and a great friend to many. And he is perhaps one of the most positive and courageous people I've ever met. And I'm going to share a visual here. And he has written a book about a very long bicycle ride. So Jerry, let's get going here. Tell
All
us
right.
about where you are in this picture and what drove you to write a book.
Well, it's interesting because where I am in this picture is on a climbing a high pass in Alaska. And nobody's out there but you. And I think this picture depicts really what you're going through in a lot of ways. You've got a bike, and all your worldly possessions are on the bike. It's just you. There's really no traffic, and you're in the mountains and in pure wilderness. And so, what motivated me to write a book? It's really interesting because, like many of us, where it took a lot of skills to execute the duties of our positions in corporate America or whatever you do, that you've got a lot of skills. But pretty soon, to me, it started feeling like the skills all felt the same. I was doing the same thing every day. Yeah, the data was changing, the environment was changing, but it felt like I was performing the same process every day, which took a lot of skill, but I started getting bored with it. And with that, I started feeling stale. And I thought to myself, I need to do something new and big and something I've never done before. And I said, it's got to be something that is adventurous, outside, invigorating. And I wanted to see what I was made of. I've read every adventure book, and I've seen the pickles that women and men get themselves into, and I always wonder, what would I do in that? Why am I not doing an adventure? I'd be looking out the window saying, I had to be doing something big. And so I pretty quickly resigned and resorted to riding a bicycle from Seattle down to San Diego. And then I ran into a guy, and the guy looks at me and he goes, Jerry, if you go big. And in the snap of a finger, I decided I'm going from Alaska to Mexico. And then so when he said that, if you go big, it's one of the best things I've ever heard in my life. And so that's what I did. And my daughter said to me, she said, Dad, you got to write a blog. And I said, I don't want to write a blog. I said, I just want to pedal, see what I can do. And she said, but Dad, we have to know where you are. And I said, you're not going to know where I am any way you look at it. There's no cell towers. There's no cell phone where I am. And she says, Dad, shut up and just write the book. And so I wrote the blog, or write the blog. So I wrote the blog, and I'll finish in a second here. So I wrote the blog, and all of a sudden it took on a following of like 40,000 people. And and people are saying, dude, we don't know who you are, but based upon this blog, you got to write the book. And I never really thought about it. And so I did the journey. I did the bicycle ride from Alaska to Mexico, and which was a big stretch. And I'd never done anything like this. I didn't train for it. I had no distance cycling experience. I just rode around the neighborhood like most of us on this podcast. And I just went. I didn't overthink it. I didn't overplan it. I didn't do it. I just said, I'll rely on my judgment and see where it takes me. And so when I got home, people kept saying, you got to write the book. And all of a sudden I said, I'm not going to write a book. I didn't do this to write a book. I didn't do it to make speeches. I didn't do it for anything. I just wanted to see what I was made of and get some good beer drinking stories. But anyway, then I started thinking about it. I said, well, why not write the book? It's another stretch. It's a big stretch, just like the physical journey I just took. Why not make that my next stretch? So I decided to go for it, and that's what came. That's kind of the process of where I eventually decided to write the book.
I'm thrilled that you did, and I love the title. Down hills don't come free. Tell us how you came up with the title.
Well, it's really an interesting story because I was on this grueling climb that never seemed to end, and songs came through into my mind the whole journey of something that it might remind me for. And every time I looked up and I saw the twist and turn in this climb, and I'd get to the next twist and turn, and it's up, up, and forever up, and then up again. Then all of a sudden there's a little downhill, and then it's going to be up and up and up and higher than that. So you don't get a reprieve. You got to remake the ground you did. And all of a sudden it kind of sprung into my mind of something that you might learn in that grueling grind, like persistence and get on with it. And all of a sudden it just sprung into my mind. Downhills. I mean, this is hell. But then all of a sudden I thought to myself, well, downhills don't come free. And there it is. But what's really interesting is I didn't know that that was going to be the title to my book. And I ran into a guy once I was done with the journey and everything else. And he looks at me, he says, what's the title of your book? And I said, I think it's going to be One Man, One Bike, One Tent, Alaska to Mexico. And he said, nah, that's too generic. He says, your title is in your book somewhere. It's in the book. And so I'd written a manuscript. So I went back through the manuscript, and all of a sudden that sprung out. Downhill don't come free. That kind of describes nothing you do of value comes free. You got to really put effort into it. But the reward, the confidence, the self-worth, creating something out of nothing, all of that comes out of taking on these big journeys. It's going to take a lot of work, and sometimes get to the point of breaking your brain. But then again, the rewards are immense. And that's how I came up with Downhills Don't Come Free.
I think on a very small scale, I can relate because I've done Ragbri, the ride across Iowa, with a lot of my friends and good buddies from my childhood. And I think we had one 85-mile day. And you talk about doing a 150-mile day, and my mind can't comprehend it. It's just too far. But I'm so proud of you for having done it, and I think people really enjoy the book and enjoy the idea. But now a few years have passed. You know, on your bike ride, you were bold as the picture of Farrah Fawcett on the book cover. And so our mission today is to live a bold and fearless life now and going forward. So let me gain some of your perspectives for our boomer audience on aging and adapting, if I can. And I'm just going to maybe start by saying, Jerry, how has aging changed your life?
Well, it's just very incremental because every day I still feel like I'm 25. In fact, on this journey, I'm 71 now. I could still do this today. But you may not have known that unless you did it, and you find out when you do that journey that the mystery was demystified of what it would take for that. And then you tend to forget the hardships, and you start saying, well, I could do that again. And I still think I could do that again, even though there are things, at one time in my life, I probably could have climbed Mount Everest. That would be a dumb risk now. So you kind of think things risk adjusted return. And that would be too risky for me at my age to run into trouble in a place you wouldn't be. So what happens with aging is you start changing your risk profile of what is really doable but a stretch and what is just a dumb risk. And so you're more mindful of that kind of stuff, of what risk you're taking on. That's point one. Point two is it's not just about you, it's about people around you as well. And what might be doable for me may not be doable for the people, my friends and family, my wife, to do with me. And I've got to bring them along too. It's not just about me running off and doing my own little stuff. It's about bringing them along. So what it is you've got to compromise and find, to me, what's adventurous, but within the realm of somebody else having a great experience too, and bringing them along as well.
That's great. You've used the term "move the goalposts" in some of our previous conversations. Can you kind of enlighten us about that thought?
Well, there's things that, I'm not as quick, as strong. I'm a little creakier than I used to be. So what you got to do is that you can't really think about what you can't do anymore. That's just kind of a negative thought. You think about what you can do. And there's a lot of great things that you can do. And as you think about what you can do, that's moving the goalposts relative to where you are in your age. But there's great things out there. There's fun, there's adventure, and it doesn't have to all be at the ragged edge. It's every day, make every day a mini adventure. And then you kind of combine those things into a bigger adventure, but you're moving the goalposts where it's something that is a mindful risk to be great without something that is probably going to kill or maim you anymore.
That's great. I in the past I have run a little, not super long distance. I think I did a half marathon once, but when I did those runs afterwards, there were awards given away to the people who ran, and they were all oriented by age and sex. So I wasn't competing with a 25-year-old. I was competing with people my own age, and in that sense, it was fair, and it made it competitive for me at my age, to run whatever distance it actually was. And when you said, move the goalposts, that's kind of what I was thinking, that you can still have a lot of fun and you can still compete, but you have to compete within, some changed goalposts, some changed, boundaries, and make it real,
Well,
right?
what's
I mean,
interesting is I used to be very competitive, almost, in my younger days, competitive to a fault. And right now, I don't care about competing. I compare about whether this is a great experience, regardless of how I do, and come away with it with what you consider that was really worthwhile, valuable, and rewarding. And that's the way it's moving the goalpost can kind of be more of a perspective. Like, I don't care if I win anymore. I want to be good, and I want to understand what it takes to do this. And then you can really appreciate the people who are excellent at that, whatever you're trying to do. And you get just a little inkling of the skills and the talent and what they're going through to be at the highest competitive levels, just knowing what you do, just getting into that action. But so to me, I don't care about competing anymore. Moving the goalpost is just being there and doing it within your current physical and skill level or mental level. Stretches don't have to all be physical. They can be very mental, like writing a book is a stretch. It's a mental stretch. It's not a physical stretch.
right. That's right. Well, let me ask you this. You are so positive. I'm going to ask you, if what, if any, aging issues do you struggle with? Do you have any aging issues that you personally struggle with?
My biggest aging issue is hearing now. I mean, I'm probably technically deaf now in the sense that, yeah, I can still carry on conversations. You and I are carrying on a conversation here and now, but if I'm in a crowded room or looking across the room and someone's lips are moving, I can't hear them. So what that restricts your involvement in something, and you really gotta pursue and persist with what did you just say and what are you thinking so that I can participate in that conversation and beyond that participate in their life. So
That's
that's my biggest issue. All my other stuff, physically, I feel great.
how are your boomer friends doing?
You can see age creeping in to each one of them in their own little way, whether it's a stiffness, whether it's a prostate issue, whether there's some mental issues going on. And so you're seeing it creep in to your friends. And you try to do anything you can to bring them along and to be optimistic about seeing their way through this. And beyond that, it's just live every day. Find something every day that you enjoy that's fun. For me, it's getting outside. It's nature. Whether I'm shoveling uh, 12 inches of snow in a driveway, there's still a beauty in that. Or walking in the woods or climbing a mountain, doing a 14er or something like that. It just live every day. And you try and bring your friends along to have
Yep.
them enjoy what they can do as well.
No, that's great. That's a great thought. And one of the people that who's responded to my book said, made the comment that baby boomers need to stick together. And I've thought a lot about that comment. I think that you're talking about, kind of supporting your baby boomer friends who may be having some crosswinds that they're
Yeah,
facing.
yeah.
Because that's how we get through this. That's how we have a great life. We do it holding hands with everybody,
Well,
right?
dive in and help them to the way you can without interfering, because there's some people who want to pry into your life more than you want them into your life as well. So what you're trying to do is not interfere, but you bring them along to where everybody's happy.
Perfect. So, do you think at all about mortality?
Um, Not for me, because I still think I'm bulletproof, which is probably a dangerous attitude. But I think about mortality among the people around me, friends and family. I worry more about them than I do about me and where they're going. I've been gifted with a fortunate life, both kind of health wise and otherwise, business wise, that kind of stuff. And I want them as fortunate. And I worry more about their mentality. I worry about my kids' health and happiness. I worry about my grandkids and bringing them along and being involved in their life without, again, interfering with my family, like being too present. So there's a real balance between being in someone's life and bringing them along. I don't think about mine. I think about them.
That's that's great. You're kind of suggesting that, what makes you happy today is to a large extent how happy those around you are.
Totally, totally. And you know what? The biggest kick I get is having somebody else stretch or accomplish something they didn't think they could do, and kind of find the spark that they could do more than they thought. And if you can be an inspiration to bring them along to hit that spark and bring them to another level, that's that's a gift of making that really makes me happy. It's the happiest you are.
That's great. Well, thank you for joining us today, Jerry. I hope you'll come back. And I guess, the bottom line is, we all adapt, we must adapt to our world as it changes and boldly go on. And keep your advice in mind to move the goalposts when you need to or when it's appropriate. So thanks, Jerry. And until next time, remember to take good care of yourselves. And remember, it's your heart that takes you places. Bye bye till next time.
All right. Bye bye till next time. You're a good friend, and best luck and best wishes for your audience. We'll talk
Thank
soon.
you. Thank you. Bye.
See you later.